بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My respected brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome to our Tafseer of Surah Saffat, one of the surahs in the Quran, or the first surah in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the evil people in Makkah, the idolaters, the kuffar of Quraysh, that they would be destroyed and that Makkah would be overtaken. This is a surah which was revealed in the middle part of the Meccan era, and it was a time when many of the Sahaba had already immigrated to Abyssinia. As you know, there were two immigrations to Abyssinia. The first immigration, when it happened, this is right after that immigration, around about that time when this surah was revealed, when it was when the persecution had become very severe. And you know, the immigration was only sanctioned by the Prophet ﷺ to Abyssinia because the persecution of the poorer Sahaba, or those Sahaba that did not have a big tribe behind them, became so severe and almost unbearable. Almost daily they were being hit and hurt. Almost daily they were being sworn at. Almost daily their lives were in danger. So as a result, the Prophet ﷺ allowed them to go off to Abyssinia. And when they did go off, it was around about that time when the persecution was very, very severe that this surah came down. This surah takes its name from the very first verse, which is Saffat. So Saffat refers to the angels that either are standing in rows in the heavens, so they worship Allah Azza wa Jal in rows, or they are called Saffat because they are flying in the heavens, and that is what they do. They hover around, or they fly around in the heavens until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders them to do something or the other. So they are the Saffat, and that's where this surah comes from. Obviously, because it was revealed in Makkah, very eloquent and very strong arguments are presented against the Quraysh. Very strong arguments regarding them disbelieving in Allah Azza wa Jal. Very vivid descriptions of them going to Jahannam are also given in the second page of this surah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells them that when they enter Jahannam, how the people who will be in Jannah, these same people that they have tortured and they have hurt and harmed, and by now they would have killed many of the Muslimin already. They have killed Ammar, they've killed Yasir, Ammar bin Yasir, they've killed Yasir the father, they've killed Sumayya the mother, they've killed the family, they've tortured, Bilal, they've done so many things, right, already. So Allah talks about how these people in Jannah, when they go to Jannah, they will ask Allah Azza wa Jal about the mujrimeen that used to order them to disbelieve in Allah. And so the angels will tell them, look down, and they will be able to see these mujrimeen in Jahannam, in the fire of hell. And they will then, of course, come to each other and rejoice and talk to each other. So Allah Azza wa Jal talks about the conversation that the people of Jannah will have with each other when they talk about the mujrimeen and how the mujrimeen are being punished. Also, this surah has a very beautiful section. Right after that, right after talking about this, Allah Azza wa Jal will talk about one of the tortures of the people of Jahannam in great detail, and that is the tree that grows in Jahannam called Shajarat al-Zaqqum. So in this surah, Allah gives vivid descriptions of this tree. Where it grows from, what sort of fruits does it produce, what sort of taste it will have, what sort of effect it will leave in the body after eating it, what sort of difficulty will cause the people who eat it. And then thereafter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala moves on to talking about the great prophets of the past. One of the great stories that we have here in this beautiful surah is the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam in great detail. In this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala presents the story of Ibrahim, our father, alayhi salam, presents his story in great detail. So the fact that Ibrahim was a young boy, and then he taught his people shirk, and what is shirk and what is tawheed, told them to stay away from shirk, told them to come towards tawheed, broke down the idols, and how he pretended to actually have a sickness, and then when the people went, and then he hit the idols and broke it down. So very beautiful description of how a young boy taught his people about tawheed and shirk, is given in this surah. So it's very beautiful, very heart-touching, and very engaging. Also, it talks about how Allah tested Ibrahim throughout and throughout, by going to Nimrod, and then the argument that he had with Nimrod, and then also by Ismail. When Allah gave him Ismail, still his test did not finish there. Allah wanted to test him further. And so Allah showed him in his dream that he was slaughtering Ismail. And so that story has been presented over here in Surah Saffat as well. The fact that Allah had told Ibrahim to slaughter Ismail, and how Ismail was so soft and kind-hearted and so positive in his response. So all of that is presented here. Finally, this surah will finish off by warning the Quraysh, of what they are doing and what they are about to do, which is treacherous. And if they do not finish, then very soon the army of Allah will be at their doorstep. Meaning that Allah had given glad tidings to the Prophet ﷺ and to the Sahaba that very soon you will overtake Makkah. So when the Sahaba read the surah and the surah came down, it was as if it was a bushra, a glad tiding in the most difficult times. So imagine they're being tortured, they're being harmed, they're being hurt, and at that time Allah's promise comes down. Be patient, for very soon you're going to be conquering these people and subduing them. Right? How long did it take between this surah coming down till the promise of Allah came? 15 to 16 years. Right? 15 to 16 years. So therefore, Ikhwani, don't be in a hurry. Don't be, oh, Allah didn't answer my dua, oh, Allah is not listening, oh, no. Everything has its due time. For 15 years, Allah tested them. For 15 years, Allah wanted them to make dua and ask Allah for Makkah, right? Which, therefore, as a result, this is the way test comes. Test does not come that, you ask Allah for something and then straight away it comes. No, Allah wants sometimes to delay the response in order to increase your good deeds, increase your dua, increase bi'idhnillah, your status, and for you to truly deserve it, and then He will give it to you, bi'idhnillah. So I take this as a lesson that, subhanAllah, we know what's happening to our Muslim countries now, from Syria to Burma to you name it, to Palestine, to others. And we know the musibah and the musa'ib that are upon us. And perhaps the victory over Palestine or over other places will not happen in our lifetime. But even if it does not, at the very least, never ever lose faith. Always have good thoughts about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah has promised that the end is for Islam and the future is for this deen, that it will happen even if it means that we will not see it in our lifetime. Right? And if that is the case, Ikhwani, I remember our Sheikh talking about when the Crusaders took over Jerusalem. When the Crusaders took over Jerusalem, and the people at that time, when they took over Jerusalem, they murdered everything, right? They murdered everything, every living creature they murdered. They raped women, they cut out children from the bellies of pregnant women, they killed them in droves. Not only Muslims they killed, remember, they killed even some Christians they killed Jews as well. So let the Jews also be worried that, you know what, the only protection that Jews have ever had has been under Muslim rule. In fact, even the Jews were attacked in the Spanish Inquisition when Muslims were being thrown out, when Spain was conquered. Even the Jews were killed at that time. So the Jews never found real protection except under Muslimin. So let history be enough a reminder for the Jews of Israel today. So Ikhwati, what actually happened was, when they did that, how long did it take for Salahuddin to kick out the Crusaders out of Jerusalem? How long did it take? 91 years. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can imagine all the people who are righteous in Jerusalem making dua to Allah, oh Allah give us success, oh Allah give us victory, oh Allah give us respite, oh Allah free us from this. 91 years later, Allah freed them. 91 years. How long has it been since Israel has been doing these things to Muslimin? It hasn't been 91 years. So with all due respect, have sabr and patience, brothers and sisters. Your dua will never be rejected. There is no barrier between the dua of the believers and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's no barrier between the madloom, the one who's oppressed, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the muntaqim, the one who takes revenge. Allah Azza wa Jal is al-muntaqim. And the al-muntaqim means the revenger, the one who takes revenge for his awliya. Meaning the one who will take revenge over his enemies for them harming his awliya in this dunya and the akhirah. طيب إخواني. So let's carry on today inshallah, Surah Saffat. And this is a very beautiful surah. Today we'll try to take the first 2.5 pages inshallah, approximately 60 verses inshallah. The surah is roughly 180 verses or so. وَالصَّافَّاتِ صَفًّا. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the generally merciful, the specifically merciful to believers, ar-Rahim. وَالصَّافَّاتِ صَفًّا. And I swear. Wa means wa wal qasam, meaning the promise by swear. So Allah takes an oath and a swear by the Saffat, by those angels that form in rows and ranks. وَالصَّافَّاتِ صَفًّا. I swear by the angels that know that when they worship me, they straight away take ranks. So when Allah calls them, straight away they take ranks. You know, it's like, have you seen an army general when they say, "Attend hut," right? Or "Attend shut," whatever they say. I've got no idea what they say, right? Or "Attend hut." And as soon as the general comes, you know, everyone's like straight away. They don't just stand where they are. They straight away, they know they have to form rows, right? Right. So this is Saffat, Saffat. This is the angels of the unseen world, that they form rows and ranks. And when do they form rows and ranks? At the time of battle, at the time of worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal, right? Or at the time of any command of Allah Azza wa Jal coming down to them, they form rows and ranks, meaning they worship Allah in rows and ranks. And that's why it is recommended to do so in our prayers and ibadat as well. That's why we do so, for example, in our salah, or for example, we do so in our dua, the salah which is dua, which is our salatul janazah. We also form rows and ranks. Also, for example, in the same way, when the people are lined up on multiple dead out there, they're also lined up in rows and ranks as well in the same manner. وَالصَّافَّاتِ صَفًّا فَالزَّاجِرَاتِ زَجْرًا. And I swear also, so Allah continues His promise and He says, I swear by the zajirati zajra. Zajara in one way is to blow or to shout. So zajirati zajra, scholars of Tafseer say, these are the angels that blow the winds and the angels that blow the clouds. So the clouds blowing are actually angels blowing behind them. Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best. فَالزَّاجِرَاتِ زَجْرًا. So I swear by the blowing of the angels as they blow the clouds around the sky, around the heavens. فَالتَّالِيَاتِ ذِكْرًا. And I swear by the taliyat, those who are reciting the dhikr which is the Quran. So who are the ones who are reciting? The angels. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes 3 promises by the angels that form ranks, by the angels that are involved in taking care of creation, such as the movement of the clouds. And I swear by the angels that are busy with my remembrance. And of the remembrance Allah has mentioned here are those angels that are busy with my recitation of my Quran, right? وَالتَّالِيَاتِ ذِكْرًا. So here Allah swears by His creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is allowed to swear by His creation. We are not allowed to swear by His creation. We cannot say I swear by my mother. We cannot say I swear by Jibreel. We cannot say I swear by the grave of my mother even. Okay? We cannot say this because we cannot swear by anything other than Allah Azza wa Jal. Whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's no one greater than He, so He swears by His creation because that is who He is. Okay? فَالتَّالِيَاتِ ذِكْرًا. I swear by the angels that are reciting my remembrance, making dhikr of me, reciting the Quran. Inna ilahakum la wahid. Verily, your Lord is no one but one, meaning He is one. Your Lord is just one. Inna ilahakum la wahid. La meaning ta'keed, lam at-ta'keed. La wahid meaning He is definitely only one. He is witr. He is only one. There is no 2 gods at all. Rabbus samawati wal ardi. The Lord of the heavens and the earth. وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا. And that which is in between. وَرَبُّ الْمَشَارِقِ. And the Lord of the mashariq. Mashariq is plural of mashriq. Mashriq means the east. So why is it called mashariq? Well, when you say east and west, Allah Azza wa Jal calls the 2 directions. If you want to join them together, He calls them mashariq. Okay? Just like, for example, instead of walid, which is the father, and walidah, which is the mother, we said walidain. Okay? It means 2 fathers. Which is to say that we use the male form or the higher form to include in it the lower form as well. So Mashriq and Maghrib are mentioned together. Mashriq is more special than Maghrib. Why is Mashriq more special than Maghrib? Because that's where the sun rises. And because the sun rises from the Mashriq, that is an evidence that it is better than the Maghrib. So as a result, Rabbul Mashariq are the two Mashriqs in the Maghrib. This little boy is coughing. I think he has whooping cough. Okay, we should look after him, inshallah. I'll check him out after I finish, inshallah. You can tell with the type of cough that children get. I hear it too much in my emergency department. Anyway, coming back to our story. Coming back to our story. Okay. وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا وَرَبُّ الْمَشَارِقِ, and the Lord of the two easts, meaning the east and the west. إِنَّا زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِزِينَةِ الْكَوَاكِبِ. Verily we have zayyana, we have beautified the sama, the earth, the heavens, ad-dunya. So sama ad-dunya is the lowest of the heavens. Okay, the lowest of the heavens, which is the heavens of this dunya, and we have beautified the lowest heavens of this dunya bi zinatil kawakib, with a zina, meaning a beautification. And what is a beautification? The kawakib, or the stars. So the stars are a beautification for it. And of course the stars serve many purposes. One of them is beautification. Ya Ikhwani, when I read this verse, I'm amazed that Allah, when you say, a rich person, you go to a rich person's house, and he has these amazing chandeliers that are worth more than the house you live in, right? Right? For example, you go to a rich man's house and his chandeliers are so amazing. And he shows you like, come to my living room. Yeah, okay, this is where I spend my days. And yeah, I bought this chandelier from Spain. I bought that from Paris. And oh yeah, I bought that from Turkey. And yeah, I bought that China from China. He's showing you things like he's so eccentric. He's so wealthy, so filthy wealthy, that he buys $1 million instruments of pleasure just for pleasure, just for viewing pleasure. And Allah Azza wa Jal is even more richer than that stars, which are massive creations, Allah has created them for zina. Allah felt like a little bit of zina, and so He created the heavens with stars so that we might have a little bit of zina in there, because the earth would look so dull without a little bit of stars in the sky. This is the way I read it. So it shows the eccentricity of the great Allah, of Allah Azza wa Jal, how amazing Allah is and how wealthy He is, that He creates stars as the beautification of the sky. Inna zayyana as-samaa ad-dunya, verily we have beautified the heavens of this earth, bi zinatin al-kawakib, with bright, shining, beautiful stars. Wa hifdhan min kulli shaytanin marid. Wa hifdhan, and as a protection, the stars serve two purposes. One, as at the very least, its purpose is to beautify the sky. Another purpose, which Allah has told us, other than the multitude of purposes it has, another purpose what Allah Azza wa Jalla says, وَحِفْظًا مِن كُلِّ شَيْطَانٍ مَارِد, as a protection from every single shaitan that is marid, that is a stealing shaitan, a very wretched shaitan that wants to steal information. What is it talking about? Well, لَا يَسَّمَّعُونَ إِلَى الْمَلَإِ الْأَعْلَى. Let me explain which shaitan he's talking about. لَا يَسَّمَّعُونَ إِلَى الْمَلَإِ الْأَعْلَى. They cannot now hear anything from what the Mala'il A'la is saying. وَيُقْذَفُونَ مِن كُلِّ جَانِبٍ, and they are bombarded from every single way. Let me explain this verse. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that He created the stars, multitude of purposes. From them, one of them is to create zina for the sky. Another one of the purposes is to throw stars at these shayateen that try to gain knowledge from the angels that are in the heavens, who are discussing with each other what Allah has revealed to them on the night of Laylatul Qadr. Allah has revealed to them what is going to happen in this dunya. So what happens is, on the night of Laylatul Qadr and on many other nights, the shayateen try to go to the heavens. Why? Because they want to hear from the angels who are discussing what Allah has ordered them to do in the future days. So for example, one of the angels, he's been ordered to, for example, cause a tsunami in the Pacific Ocean. So that angel is discussing, Allah told me on this particular day, he's sitting with the other angel and he's discussing with the other angel what Allah has told him to do. So what these shayateen try and do is they try and grab the information from them, and then they come down and then they tell the magicians and the sorcerers what is going to happen in the future. So Allah says that لا يسمعون إلى الملأ الأعلى, meaning now after the coming of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah does not allow that to happen anymore. So before the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they could go up and they could listen to the angels and they could come down and inform the magicians. But now after the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that has been stopped totally. That has been totally stopped. Why has that been totally stopped? Because future and foretelling the future is a sign of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's one of the glad tidings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the authentic hadith, it was reported in Bukhari, it's reported that once Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam finished his Fajr prayer, then he stood up, then he started talking about every single thing that will happen from his time after he passes away until the Day of Judgment. Then Dhuhr came and he prayed Dhuhr, and then he got up and he started talking again. And on this day this will happen, and this way that will happen, and this will happen, and this country will be conquered by so and so, and this king will come, and he will have 5 kids, and then he will have this and this, and this war will take place. He kept on talking until Asr came. And then he got down from his mimbar, he prayed Asr, then he got up, and then he kept on talking until Maghrib. Then Maghrib came. Then he prayed Maghrib, then he got on his mimbar, he kept on talking until Isha, and then Isha came and he prayed Isha, then he went home. So, and the Sahaba said, حَفِظَهَا مَنْ حَفِظَ وَنَسِيهَا مَنْ نَسِيَ. Meaning, how many of us remembered? We remember what we could, but most of us forgot. Okay, but the Prophet ﷺ told the Sahaba every single thing that will happen. In fact, Abu Huraira radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was one of those that were there, and he memorized, as you know, Abu Huraira. But Abu Huraira decided to die and not tell us it. In the authentic hadith in Bukhari was reported that Abu Huraira radiyallahu ta'ala anhu said, حَفِظْتُ عَنْ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ وِعَيْعَانِ. I have memorized from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam 2 vessels of knowledge. As for the first one, بَثَثْتُهُمَا, then I have spread the first knowledge, meaning the first vessel of knowledge, I've given it to you all. This is the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the 2,000 plus hadith that I memorized from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I've already told you. As for the other vessel, then if I was to tell you this, then this would be cut. Meaning there would be too much destruction on this earth. Because if I were to say that after this king, that king's son will kill his children and do this, then what will this king try to do? This king will try to kill him beforehand, right? There'll be too much bloodshed. So if I were to tell you about the next, the other knowledge, then there will be so much bloodshed. So he did not tell us. So he died with that knowledge, which shows therefore that it is permissible to hide knowledge if there is a specific benefit in it, such as preserving life, etc. It is permissible to hide knowledge, and of course there are conditions for it, but this is an example. Ala kulli hal, let's come back. لا يسمعون إلى الملأ الأعلى, they cannot hear the ملأ الأعلى. Who are the ملأ الأعلى? ملأ الأعلى are the angels who are in the heavens that are reading the books, the pages of the Lawh al-Mahfuz, and those who have been told by Allah Azza wa Jal what is going to happen the next year on the night of Laylatul Qadr. إِلَى الْمَلَأِ الْأَعْلَى وَيُقْذَفُونَ مِنْ كُلِّ جَانِبٍ, and they are going to be bombarded from every single way, every single side. They're going to have the angels throwing spears and arrows at them, and of course bombarding them with heavenly weapons. مِنْ كُلِّ جَانِبٍ دُحُورًا, wretched creatures. Duhuran, rejected, wretched creatures, these pathetic shayateen. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ وَاصِبٌ, and for them is adab, a punishment, wasib, which is continuous punishment. Meaning in the hereafter, the punishment in Jahannam will be continuous for trying to listen to the angels and cheat. إِلَّا مَنْ خَطِفَ الْخَطَفَةَ, except once in a while, some of these devils, before they are destroyed by the shihab that comes down, shihab meaning these arrows and bombs that come down from the heavens, إِلَّا مَنْ خَطِفَ الْخَطْفَ, some of them are able to hear 1 or 2 words or 1 or 2 phrases. So فَأَتْبَعَهُ شِهَابٌ ثَاقِبٌ, what does he do? But he is followed by the shihabun thaqib, he's followed by this flaming ball that comes down from the heavens. So when you see the shooting stars, these are generally the devils that are burning up, as the scholars mentioned, the devils burning up. And who knows, perhaps the meteors are actually the devils that have been burnt up by the stars that have been thrown against them, the asteroids that have been thrown against them. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Allah knows best the reality and the truth. وَلَهُمْ شِهَابٌ فَأَتْبَعَهُ شِهَابٌ ثَاقِبٌ. So following them are these burning flames of fire that burn and tear them down. فَاسْتَفْتِهِمْ أَهُمْ أَشَدُّ خَلْقًا. So ask them, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ask these Quraysh, فَاسْتَفْتِهِمْ, give them a question, ask them, أَهُمْ أَشَدُّ خَلْقًا, are they more difficult to create? أَمَّنْ خَلَقْنَا, or the ones that we have already created, which is the heavens and the earth. إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاهُمْ, verily we have created them, meaning human beings, min, from teen. Teen is clay, lazib is wet clay. Okay, so you know we have the Play-Doh that you play with, the children play with the Play-Doh, or the mud that you have that they play with sometimes, that sticks to your body. So this is the wet mud. So we have created them from wet mud. So it's very interesting how Allah Azza wa Jal mentions teen al-lazib, and in Surah Rahman, what did Allah mention? وَخَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ مَارِجٍ مِنْ نَارٍ, right? خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ كَالْفَخَّارِ. He has created insan from salsal, which is the baked clay, kal-fakhar, like the burnt baked clay, right? So he talks about a very hard object, and over here he talks about a soft object. And then another place Allah talks about, talks about water, how He created everything from water. So how do we understand this? The scholars say we understand this to mean that the brittle part of our body, which is the bones, are from the salsal, and the softer parts of our body, which is the muscle, for example, and skin, that is from teen and lazib, and the wet parts of our body, like the blood, and that is from the water. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاهُمْ مِنْ طِينٍ اللَّازِبٍ بَلْ عَجِبْتَ وَيَسْخَرُونَ بَلْ عَجِبْتَ, rather Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you are amazed at them whilst they are scorning you. Meaning, you are amazed at them, how stupid they can be, or how silly they can be, and how they can reject all the signs whilst they are actually scorning you, at you being amazed at them. وَإِذَا ذُكِّرُوا لَا يَذْكُرُونَ, and when they are reminded, وَإِذَا ذُكِّرُوا, when they are being reminded, لَا يَذْكُرُونَ, then they do not remember the command of Allah. وَإِذَا رَأَوْا آيَةً يَسْتَسْخِرُونَ. This is a very important verse. وَإِذَا رَأَوْا, when they see an ayah, a sign, يَسْتَسْخِرُونَ, meaning they mock it and then they make fun of it and they disbelieve in it. Okay? They take it as sukhriya. Sukhriya meaning something to joke and mock about. What is Allah referring to here in this verse number 14? He's referring to the miracles of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If they see a miracle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then they yastaskhirun, they make fun of it. So what miracles are we talking about? People say, oh, did the Prophet have any miracles? They say, yeah, it's the Quran. No, the Quran is not a miracle of the Prophet. If you say, okay, it came through the Prophet, so you can say it's a miracle, fair enough. But how many miracles of the Prophet can you think of? We say that Musa had his staff, which became a snake, right? And he would put his hands into his chest and it would come out with light, right? And we know that Isa could give life back to the dead with Allah's will, right? And cure the diseased people. What about Rasulullah? Did he have anything like that? Well, you'll be surprised to hear that as-Suyuti rahimahullah, he said, I collected, listen to what he said. He said, as-Suyuti said, I collected the miracles of the Prophet ﷺ and I gathered no less than 1,300 miracles. 1,300. Yeah, other than the Quran. Other than the Quran. Where can you find the description of the miracles of the Prophet ﷺ? You can find it in the books of Suyuti. Also you can find it, inshallah, you can find it in the chapter of nikah, the chapter of marriage, in the books of fiqh. You can find it in the chapter of nikah where they talk about the Prophet's marriage to nine women and how that is unique to the Prophet. So at that point they mention all the khususiyat and the special things of Rasulullah. Of them, the miracles of the Prophet they will also mention. So inshallah, that is where you can read about it in the books of fiqh, inshallah, the miracles of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. طيب. Can someone remember any of the miracles? Yeah, parting of the moon, the fact that water came out of his hands, the fact that the people ate from the food of the Prophet ﷺ. 60 people ate from the food that was not even enough for one person, and they all felt like they had eaten, like they're full. There was many others. The Prophet ﷺ spitting in the eye and the eye becoming cured. The Prophet ﷺ saying Bismillah and putting someone's eye back into place after it was chopped off in a battle, and putting a nose back into place of a Sahabi after the nose was chopped off in battle. So many, subhanAllah. So many miracles of the Prophet ﷺ. There are too many to mention. طيب. وَإِذَا رَأُوا آيَةً يَسْتَسْخِرُونَ وَقَالُوا إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا سِحْرٌ مُبِينٌ. And they say, this is nothing but a manifest magic. This Quran and this ayah from Allah Azza wa Jal, this miracle from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is nothing but black magic. أَإِذَا مِتْنَا وَكُنَّا تُرَابًا. Is it that when we die and we become turab, dust, وَعِظَامًا, and bones, أَإِنَّا لَمَبْعُوثُونَ. Are we going to be brought back to life again? Our آبَاؤُنَا الْأَوَّلُونَ. And including our forefathers in the past, they're also going to be brought back? قُلْ. Say to them, نَعَمْ. Yes, indeed. وَأَنْتُمْ دَاخِرُونَ. And you will be disgraced on the Day of Judgment for saying something like this. دَاخِرُونَ, meaning that you will be humbled, lowered, disgraced, beaten down on the Day of Judgment. فَإِنَّمَا هِيَ زَجَرَةٌ وَاحِدَةٌ. It will not be except a zajara, meaning one scream, one blowing, one shake. Zajar means to shake a person very strongly, right? So the one zajratun wahida, meaning one terrible shaking, which will be because of the blowing of the horn. فَإِذَا هُمْ يَنْظُرُونَ. Then you will all be brought alive again out of your dead bodies, and you will be standing up looking fresh, bright, looking straight at the Day of Judgment. فَإِذَا هُمْ يَنْظُرُونَ قَالُوا يَا وَيْلَنَا هَذَا يَوْمُ الدِّينِ. They will say on that day, oh woe to us, this is the day of judgment. هَذَا يَوْمُ الْفَصْلِ. Today is the day of fasl. What does the day of fasl mean? Remember we said the Day of Judgment has over 27 names in the Quran. Of them is Yawmul Fasl. Yawmul Fasl means the day of judging and the day of grouping. So fasl is where Allah Azza wa Jal does a hukum, where Allah does a hukum and He groups people into right and left and sabiqun, etc. So Yawmul Fasl, this is the day of hukum and the day of grouping. هذا يوم الفصل الذي كنتم به تكذبون. That you used to تكذبون, that you used to disbelieve in. احشروا الذين ظلموا. Raise up those who had wronged themselves, meaning those who were kuffar. وأزواجهم, and their wives. وما كانوا يعبدون, and what they used to worship other than Allah. Ya ikhwati, from the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that He will raise the families together. Yeah, He will raise families together. Why is that? Because they loved each other, because they helped each other, because they were together in this dunya. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ said a Muslim can never ever inherit from a non-Muslim. Why is that? Because they are truly not family. On the Day of Judgment, unless they loved each other or they did not care about Islam anymore, then they'll be raised up together. The Muslim will be raised up with the non-Muslim. But however, in the Akhirah, no. And that's why Allah Azza wa Jalla says, when Nuh ﷺ saw his son drowning, what did he say? He said, oh Allah, this is my son. He said, إِنَّهُ لَيْسَ مِنْ أَهْلِكَ. He is not from your family. So after death, if there is someone in your family that has disbelieved, and they die and you die, you're no longer family. You're no longer family, you will not be raised up together. But the disbelievers who die, they're upon one religion and they'll be raised up together, and this is the proof. اُحْشُرُوا الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا. Raise up, resurrect those who have wronged themselves, وَأَزْوَاجُهُمْ, and their wives. وَمَا كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ, and what they used to worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why it is very important to marry righteous people. Very important, brothers and sisters, to marry righteous people. In fact, our scholars used to say, marry people better than yourselves. If you haven't memorized the Quran, marry someone who's memorized the Quran. If you're not an alim, marry someone who is one. Okay, marry someone better than you, so that you are raised up with them rather than the other way around. احشروا الذين ظلموا وأزواجهم وما كانوا يعبدون, and what they used to worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. من دون الله, rather than Allah. فاهدوهم إلى صراط الجحيم, and guide them towards a path that will take them to the Jahannam. فاهدوهم meaning guide them, O angels, guide these evildoers to a path that will take them to Jahannam. وقفوهم, however it will be said as they are being dragged to Jahannam, stop 1 second. وقفوهم, stop them. We need to ask them a question before they're thrown into Jahannam. وقفوهم فإنهم مسؤولون, they're going to be asked a question. So now Allah is saying is that as the angels are tying up their hands, and we took in the previous surahs how Allah says in Surah Yasin that these people will be tied up with their hands and their legs together, right? Hands, legs together, all tied up to their necks. Hands, legs, hands, everything tied up to their necks. As they're being dragged into Jahannam, they'll be stopped. وَقِفُوهُمْ, stop them. إِنَّهُمْ مَسْئُولُونَ, they're going to be asked a question. What is the question that they're going to be asked? مَا لَكُمْ لَا تَنَاصَرُونَ, what is wrong with you that you're not helping each other? Meaning, in this dunya, you or two disbelievers tried to help each other in this dunya. You are trying to help each other in the sin and the haram. But what is wrong with you now that you're not helping each other? مَا لَكُمْ لَا تَنَاصَرُونَ بَلْ هُمُ الْيَوْمَ مُسْتَسْلِمُونَ, meaning when they are questioned, on that day they're going to lower their heads in submission, and they're going to agree that they cannot help each other and they have been totally overcome. بَلْ هُمُ الْيَوْمَ مُسْتَسْلِمُونَ وَأَقْبَلَ بَعْضُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ يَتَسَاءَلُونَ. And some of them, meaning the people here, Allah Azza wa Jal now moves on talking about the people of Jannah, and He says وَأَقْبَلَ بَعْضُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ يَتَسَاءَلُونَ, the people of the right hand and the people of Jannah will turn towards each other and they will ask each other, hey, قالوا إن كنا إنكم كنتم تأتوننا عن اليمين. They will turn, these people will turn towards these disbelievers, and they'll say, you used to come to us from the right side. Right side meaning, you used to constantly come to us and tell us to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and worship others other than Allah. قالوا, they will say, بل لم تكونوا مؤمنين. They will say, yes, we used to come to you, but rather you never used to believe in Allah Azza wa Jal. So the people of Jannah, they'll be together, they will come in groups, and they'll go to these people tied up, yeah, and they will say to them, قالوا إنكم كنتم تأتوننا عن اليمين. You used to come to us from the right side and used to tell us to commit shirk with Allah and to wrong each other and to harm Muslimin and to disbelieve in the Quran and to reject the faith. You used to tell us to do that. قالوا بل لم تكونوا مؤمنين. Right? So they will say, rather you never used to believe in Allah. وَمَا كَانَ لَنَا عَلَيْكُم مِّن سُلْطَانٍ, and we never used to have an ability over you. بَلْ كُنْتُمْ قَوْمًا طَاغِينَ. You used to be people who were already wrong and mistaken. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the people of Jannah will question them, but when they are questioned, the people will speak to each other, the people of Jahannam will speak to each other, and they will say, قالوا, they will say to each other when they are questioned, and they will lament at each other, they will say, rather you were the one who was wrong, meaning I did not command you to be mistaken and be wrong, rather it was you who were already misguided, and so my taunting you to disbelief was nothing else except to lead you to Jahannam. وَمَا كَانَ لَنَا عَلَيْكُم مِّن سُلْطَانٍ بَلْ كُنْتُمْ قَوْمًا طَاغِينَ. Rather you yourself were a people that were misguided. فَحَقَّ عَلَيْنَا قَوْلُ رَبِّنَا. So today the command of our Lord has become true upon us. إِنَّا لَذَائِقُونَ. We're definitely going to taste the punishment of Jahannam. We're going to taste it. There is nothing that is going to stop us from tasting it. فَأَغْوَيْنَاكُمْ إِنَّا كُنَّا غَاوِينَ. Verily we fooled you, but we ourselves were also fooled. فَإِنَّهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ فِي fil adabi mushtarikun. So on this day, they and those who wronged them will both be in Jahannam. They and those who told them to disbelieve in Allah will both be in Jahannam, mushtarikun, partners in the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna kadhalika naf'alu bil mujrimeen. In the same way will we do to those who are mujrimeen, those who are wrongdoers. Ikhwani, brothers and sisters in Islam, today, if we are wronged, or if someone tells us to do wrong, and we end up listening to them, those same people will, on the day of judgment, free themselves from us. Those same people on the day of judgment will say that we never ever had any ability over you. We simply told you to do something and you listened. And you are the ones who are already misguided. So on the day of judgment, we cannot, like we do today, he made me do it. Like if I ask Yusuf, why did you do it? It wasn't me, he made me do it. Have you seen that? He made me do it. No, you cannot do that on the day of judgment. Because at the end of the day, Allah says that everyone is independent. You cannot blame someone else. You will both be punished. One for guiding, the other one to haram, the other one for listening. Inna kadhalika naf'alu bil mujrimeen. In the same way will we punish those who are wrongdoers. Innahum kanu. They used to be, idha qila lahum, when it was said to them, La ilaha illallah, there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah, yastakbirun. They used to be arrogant. Ikhwani, remember, La ilaha illallah does not mean there is no God but Allah, does not mean there is no creator except Allah. These are all wrong translations, mistakes. The correct understanding is there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah. And they used to be yastakbirun, they used to be haughty and proud. We're going to worship only one God? No. We're going to have multiple gods, or we don't believe in your God, or we don't believe in a God at all. Yastakbirun, they used to be proud and haughty. And this is why, Ikhwani, the essence of atheism is actually arrogance. It's scientific pretensions covering an aura of atheism, aura of arrogance. What they have is actually arrogance. And their tools are these scientific pretensions that they use. So-called scientific arguments, but what is underlying is actually arrogance. And this is why I tell people, don't argue with atheists more than 10 minutes. More than 10 minutes, because if they haven't already listened to you by that time, it's just arrogance continuing on. Yeah, don't bother. Yastakbirun, they are haughty and proud. وَيَقُولُونَ and they say, أَإِنَّا لَتَارِكُوا آلِهَتِنَا لِشَاعِرٍ مَجْنُونَ. And they say, are we going to be leaving, tariku, are we going to be leaving alihatina? Are we going to be leaving our gods? Lisha'ir, for a poet that is majnoon, for a mad poet. They called him mad, they called him a poet. He was neither a poet, and we know that from Surah Yasin. وَمَا عَلَّمْنَاهُ الشِّعْرَ وَمَا يَنْبَغِي لَهُ. He was not a poet, and he was definitely not mad. بَلْ جَاءَ بِالْحَقِّ وَصَدَّقَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. No, rather, he is not a poet, nor is he mad, rather he came with the truth. جاء بالحق, meaning Muhammad ﷺ came with the haqq, or the truth. وَصَدَّقَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ, and he attested to the truthfulness of the mursaleen, of those people who were sent before the prophets of the past. إِنَّكُمْ لَذَائِقُونَ الْعَذَابَ الْأَلِيمِ. Today, most definitely, O you disbelievers, لَذَائِقُونَ, dhawq is to taste. لَذَائِقُونَ, you will taste al-adhab al-alim, the terrible torment of the fire. لَذَائِقُونَ الْعَذَابَ الْأَلِيمِ وَمَا تُجْزَوْنَ إِلَّا مَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. And you will not be recompensed except by what you used to do. Meaning this is exactly what you earned and you never ever knew. Ikhwani, do you think if the Quraysh actually understood the punishment and they actually could see the punishment, they would ever do this? No. They only knew that it was wrong to do. Without knowing the punishment, they're still being punished. Meaning what? Meaning today, when we sin, and we don't know what the punishment is of the sin, but all we know is it's a sin. All we know it's wrong. Even then, we will still be liable for the punishment, even if all we knew was it was wrong to do. So for example, we know that, for example, looking at haram things, for example, for a man to look at a woman second time or more with desire is haram, for example. That is not allowed for him. But we don't know how severe that punishment is, for example. Okay, we don't know how severe the punishment is. So if we end up doing it now, while still knowing it's a sin, are we liable for the punishment when the punishment is applied? Absolutely. Does that make sense? And that is why a Sahaba came to Rasulullah ﷺ and said, Ya Rasulullah, I slept with my wife in Ramadan. Meaning he knew it was wrong to do so, but he still slept with his wife in Ramadan, and now he came to Rasulullah ﷺ to ask about the punishment. So he didn't know about the punishment. The punishment was free a slave. If not, then fast 60 days consecutively. If not, then to feed 60 poor people. Right? He didn't know what the punishment of the kafara was. But he was still liable for it, even though he did not know what the kafara was. Does that make sense, Ikhwani? And this is why there's no one here in this room, if we knew the punishment of some of the sins we do, except that we would never do it. But we will not have a chance to truly know that punishment, because we cannot see Jahannam in this dunya. So my sincere advice to my brothers and sisters in Islam, never ever take any sin lightly. Any sin. Any sin. Because even the lightest of sins, there are numerous hadith that show how severe it could be. So for example, anyone who has a single gold coin that he did not give in zakat, you withheld your zakat. We know the punishment will be that the gold will be meted out from the fire of hell and the skin will be branded. Can you imagine the punishment? We know, for example, the punishment of someone who forgets the Quran. So the punishment of someone who forgets the Quran, you memorize part of the Quran, then you don't revise it enough, that you end up forgetting it. What is the punishment of that? That the person will be put down on his grave, an angel will stand with his feet on his neck, and with a mountain he will be smashing his head with it. And on the day of judgment, because of the shame, his skin and his meat on his face will fall off in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of the shame that he had forgotten the words of Allah Azza wa Jal. This is the punishment of someone who memorizes the Quran or parts of the Quran and then forgets. So the point I'm trying to make, Ikhwani, is that Allah's punishment is severe. Allah's punishment is severe. There's no one here who would ever want any ounce of that punishment in any form or any way. And as a result, never ever take any sin lightly. Protect yourselves from every single sin as much as possible. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us ways out, and He's most merciful, most kind. إنكم لذائقون العذاب الأليم وما تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون. You will not be recompensed except what you used to do and what you earned with your own hands. إلا, except for عباد الله, the slaves of Allah, al-mukhlasin, not mukhlisin. Mukhlis means sincere. Mukhlas, with the fatha over the lam, mukhlas means the chosen ones. Okay? The chosen slaves of Allah. Okay, so don't think mukhlis over here. It's mukhlasin. Okay? Illa ibadallah, except for the slaves of Allah that are mukhlasin, that are chosen. Chosen for what? Chosen for Jannah. And that is why, Ikhwani, because of this verse, meaning Allah has already chosen us for Jannah. Some of us for Jannah and others for Jahannam. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us from the people of Jannah. And that is why the scholars of Islam, they used to say, Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah used to say, has the knowledge of Allah about you ever made you cry? The fact that Allah already knows whether He has chosen you for Jannah or Jahannam. And that's why Malik bin Dinar, one of the great scholars of Islam, used to stand up in his prayer, and he had a long beard, and he used to grab his beard like this in his prayer and say, oh Allah, You've already created some people for Jannah and some people for Jahannam. Tell me which group am I from? Tell me which group am I from? La ilaha illallah. Illa ibadallahi al-mukhlasin. Except for the slaves of Allah which Allah has already chosen. Ulaika lahum rizqum ma'loom. For them will be provisions that are well known. Meaning Jannah and safety from Jahannam. Fawakihu wahum mukramun. Lots of fruits. Wahum mukramun, and they will be honored in Jannah. Meaning lots of honor from the dresses and their dwellings and how they will be treated and spoken to. They will be honored. Fahum mukramun. They will be honored people in Jannah. Fi jannatin na'im. In the gardens of Jannah and Na'im, the blessed gardens of Jannah. Ala sururin mutaqabilin. Upon couches reclining, facing each other. يُطَافُ عَلَيْهِمْ بِكَأْسٍ مِّن مَّعِينٍ. Running around them will be their servants. يُطَافُ عَلَيْهِمْ, running around them, doing tawaf around them. Meaning that, you know how, have you seen when you're at a restaurant and you have good service, not bad service, like unfortunately too many restaurants have bad service, but you got a good service and the waiter keeps coming every minute, you know, sir, can I get you something else? Sir, can I fill up your drink? Sir, can I do that? Sir, can I do this? Right? Every minute, you know. And this is it's almost like they're doing tawaf around you. They're doing tawaf around you, going back so that you think that they've gone away, but they're actually looking. Can I fill your glass? No. Okay, okay, thank you. Can I fill your glass again? No. Would you like something else, please? Yes, okay. Can you get me that? So they're always around you. It's almost like they're doing tawaf around you. Yutafu alayhim bika'sin, with cups, min ma'in, meaning flowing wine, meaning constant flowing wine, never ending, as much as you want to drink. Bayda. So the wine is white. So in fact, one of the scholars of Islam, Al-Hasan Al-Basri rahimahullah, he said, the wine of Jannah is whiter than milk. Okay, he said in the authentic narration, the wines of Jannah are whiter than milk. And you know when in my emergency department, when these patients come in drunk, right? And they're like, so I asked them, how many did you drink? 2. I said, yeah, 2, right. And he probably drank 14, 15 glasses or something ridiculous, right? And he smashed himself in the face, he's fallen over drunk, and now I have to CT his head and everything. So, you know, I still remember, it's like, man, you guys drink so much, I can't believe it. I want to drink that wine in Jannah because I want to see what it is that you guys get out of it. What is so great about wine? We want to drink it. But inshallah, we'll wait for Jannah for that. Okay, bayda, so it is white, whiter than milk. Bayda, ladhatan lisharibin, ladhatin lisharibin. A beautiful taste and a beautiful taste and happiness it gives to the sharibin, to the ones who drink it. La fiha ghawlun, it does not cause you to be intoxicated. Wala hum anha yunzafun, nor will they make them drowsy or cause them to have any pain. Ghawl, some of the scholars said ghawl means drowsiness, or it causes pain or suffering. Or yunzafun, meaning it will not cause them to be drunk. وَعِنْدَهُمْ قَاصِرَاتُ الطَّرْفِ عِينٌ. Ya Ikhwani, you know, whenever you read about Jannah, one of the things that come to mind is, I'm sure there's no one here would like, you know what, Rabb, let me enter it. And in the authentic hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever says, oh Allah, let me enter Jannah, oh Allah, let me enter Jannah, oh Allah, let me enter Jannah, 3 times Jannah says to Allah, oh Allah, let him enter me. Okay? Oh Allah, let him enter me. So never ever stop asking Allah for Jannah. Okay? And whoever says 3 times, oh Allah, give me safety from Jahannam, oh Allah, give me safety from Jahannam, oh Allah, save me from Jahannam, right? Then Jahannam says, oh Allah, save him from me. Save him from me, okay? So be of those people who constantly ask Allah for Jannah, constantly ask Allah for Jannah and seek refuge in Jahannam. And Allah is so generous, so kind and merciful, He will not reject the dua of His believers, bi'idhnillah, and have positive thoughts about that. La fiha ghawlun wala hum anha yunzafun. They will not have ghawl, any pain or torture. Wala hum anha yunzafun, nor will they become drunk from it. وَعِنْدَهُمْ قَاصِرَاتُ الطَّرْفِ عِينٌ. وَعِنْدَهُمْ, and with them will be women that lower their gazes. What does lowering gazes mean? Meaning they lower their gazes from anyone but their husbands. When the husbands come, they cannot stop looking at them. Okay, but everyone else, they lower their gaze, meaning they do not desire anyone else but their husbands. Right? This is what it means. وَعِنْدَهُمْ قَاصِرَاتُ الطَّرْفِ. And you know the beauty of the Arabic language is that you say something, you mean something else. Yeah? I mean, you're saying they lowered their gaze, but what they actually mean is that they desire the husband. Amazing, isn't it? This is the beauty of the Arabic language. وَعِنْدَهُمْ قَاصِرَاتُ الطَّرْفِ عِينٌ. Ain means their eyes are wide, beautiful. And why their eyes wide and beautiful? That's the way Allah made it. And Allah talks about their eyes only because men have something about the eyes, right? Or when you look at a face, the first thing you look at is the eye, not the nose or the mouth or the ears. So that is the case, it's the eyes that are the most pretty. And so Allah has made their eyes exquisitely beautiful. كَأَنَّهُنَّ Baydun maknoon. It is as if they are bayd, which is eggs, maknoon, or concealed eggs. Concealed eggs. And why are they called concealed eggs? Because, as the scholars, Al-Hasan al-Basri rahimahullah and many other scholars mention, I told you, I think I said this before, that I have to give a special class for for the brothers for describing Hurul Ain, because so many verses about it, okay? So obviously it's ibadah, guys, it's ibadah. So كَأَنَّهُنَّ بَيْدٌ مَكْنُونَ, meaning they are eggs that are concealed. It's like the eggs of sparrows that are concealed with all of this hub and scrub and bushes. So the girls, these women, what they do is that from behind the walls of the gardens of Jannah, they look out for their husbands. So when you see them, it's like, oh, what was that? Oh, so they are the Baydun Maknoon. So if you were to see them before you go to them, you would see them like, oh my God, this very amazing white egg that is poking out through some of the scrubs and bushes. And it is just them that are just trying to look for their husbands as they're coming through from the gardens of Jannah. Does that make sense? And that is كَأَنَّهُنَّ بَيْدٌ مَكْنُونَ. It is as if you're looking at them, they're like concealed eggs. And also, so sisters, don't feel bad, by the way, I have to say this to the sisters. Ikhwati, it is an authentic hadith which should make all the sisters here feel good. Okay? And the hadith is in Musnad Imam Ahmed. And the hadith states that when the mardiya comes, then the husband will forget everyone else. Who are the mardiya? Mardiya is the wife of the husband in this world. So Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah mentions that the mardiya, what is mardiya? Mardiya is the woman that is the most desired by the husband. Okay, the mardiya, rida means the happy, or the one mardiya, the one who is the most desired. So the women of this dunya will be like princesses over the servants, and the servants are the other women in Jannah. And that's why Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah says, when the princess comes, does the king ever worry about, or does the prince ever think about the servants? No, when the princess is there, he doesn't care about the servants. Okay? So this is a way of saying that the women of this dunya will be the princesses of the other women of Jannah. Okay? Princesses, right? And so as a result, do not ever feel bad, because the women of Jannah never went through what you have to go through. They haven't gone through difficulty of being taunted in this dunya, having to pray, or fast, or give zakat, or hajj. They never went through any difficulty at all. They were just simply created for pleasure. But you go through this in this dunya. And that's why, ikhwani and ikhwati, sisters in Islam, once Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha saw a woman who was passing by, and she had beautified herself. She was, mutabarrija, like we have today. Some women, they just, good Lord, they put all of, all the makeup in the world and every sort of perfume on their body, and they walk out, And she saw a woman walking past, and she had lots of beautification and perfume. And so she was wearing the hijab and niqab. And so she lifted the niqab up like this, and she said, enjoy it in this dunya, for it is for you in this dunya and for us in the akhirah. Okay? So if you're of those people who beautify yourself in this dunya, you will miss it in the akhirah. If you're someone who comes out mutabarrija in this dunya, putting makeup on and showing your hair and not covering yourself properly and wearing tight clothes in this dunya, then you will not have this beautification for yourself in the akhirah. But if you cover yourself properly in this dunya, protect yourselves for only those people who are loud, and then in that case, for you is the most amazing beautification in the akhirah for you, bi'idhnillah. طيب. بيضاء لذة للشاربين لا فيها غول ولا هم عنها ينزفون وعندهم قاصرات الطرف عين كأنهن بيض مكنون فأقبل بعضهم على بعض يتساءلون. So some of the people of Jannah will ask the other people of Jannah, قال قائل منهم. So one of them will say, إني كان لي قرين. You know what? I used to have this guy, this qareen, meaning this buddy who was with me, perhaps at work or perhaps in life. يقول أئنك لمن المصدقين. And they will say, meaning one of them used to say to the other one, are you not from those who used to speak the truth? أَإِذَا مِتْنَا وَكُنَّا تُرَابًا وَعِظَامًا أَإِنَّا لَمَدِينُونَ. So the qareen, the bad person, a friend of mine who used to tell me to do bad, he used to come to us and say, he used to tell me, right, that are you a Muslim, the one who believes in Allah? Are you the one who says that when we are bones and we have become like dust, that we are going to be brought back to this life? قَالَ هَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُطَّلِعُونَ. So the other man will say, meaning the other guy in Jannah who is there before him will say, are you looking? Look down, meaning look down underneath your feet. So the person in Jannah will look down and he will see, فَاطَّلَعَ فَرَآهُ فِي سَوَاءِ الْجَحِيمِ. So he will see, and Allah will allow him to see the people in Jahannam. At that point is a miracle. Allah will allow him to see his friend in Jahannam, in the middle of Jahannam. قَالَ تَاللَّهِ إِن كِتَّ لَتُرْدِينَ. And he will say, Alhamdulillah, glory be to Allah. You nearly misguided me. So the man in Jannah will look at his friend in Jahannam, in the middle of Jahannam, and he will say, Qala tallahi, tallahi, billahi, wallahi is all the same. Meaning, I swear by Allah. Okay? So tallahi, he will say, the man in Jannah will say, I swear by Allah, in kitta, you so and so in Jahannam, you were about to, kitta meaning you were about to, laturdeen, you're about to turn me away from Islam. You nearly misguided me. وَلَوْلَا نِعْمَةُ رَبِّي. And if it wasn't for the blessings of Allah, لَكُنْتُ مِنَ الْمُحْضَرِينَ. Then I would have been from the ones who are with you in Jahannam.